So they're finally here. The brand new Pixel 11 series phone and the new watch has been unveiled, and I've got some first hands-on impressions of all of them. Starting with the design this year, Google's changed the camera bar. Kinda, with a twist. Now it's very much still the same design that we've had in the past, but now they've actually extended the glass section so it fully is glass, all the way edge to edge on that camera bar. And it's probably one of those changes that sounds pretty insignificant, but they've added something different this time. Low-key, it gives me nostalgic vibes. You guys remember back in the day, we used to have this little LED light on the front, the notification light? That was one of my favorite features, and then it got removed. Well, Google's just brought it back. So Google calls this Highlight, and it's across all of the phones, which is really nice to see. And it's actually kind of cool. So you get different colored lights for different notifications, and you can even assign custom colors to incoming calls from certain contacts. And then there's this really googly implementation that if your phone's face down and you use Google Assistant, it actually lights up when you ask Google a question.
In Toronto, there'll be light rain with a high of 25 and a low of 21.
So yeah, it's one of those features that Google didn't need to put there, but it's kind of nice to have. It's like a why not feature, almost like the nothing phone, right? It's kind of maybe a little gimmicky, but at the same time, it has its charm. It also doubles with the flash, which is in the same place, so it keeps the design nice and simple. So first of all, let's talk about the standard Pixel 11 series. So they've actually bumped up the base storage to 256 gigabytes, which is nice, but they also bumped up the price $100. So realistically, it's the same price as last year if you upgraded the storage, but there's no 128 option anymore. Off the bat, the first thing I noticed was the thinner camera bar. It's actually been reduced significantly. It's around 40% smaller, and paired with Google's new cases, something I really love, it makes the phone completely flat and flush when you put it down on the table. In terms of colors, we have Frost, Hibiscus, Pistachio, and Obsidian. Under the hood, we have 12 gigabytes of RAM, which is pretty fair, and that's paired with the brand new Tensor G6 chip. Obviously, this is Google's next generation chip, and a lot of the Pixel experience is really built around Tensor rather than just raw benchmark scores, so I expect it's not going to be up there with what Apple and Samsung are pumping out in terms of benchmark scores, but at the end of the day, I feel like I'm expecting a smooth experience similar to last year on the Pixel 10 Pro. But when it does come to technicalities, we have 50% more compute power, which is promising, and 2 times more memory bandwidth. And of course, it's more efficient and more optimized, and paired with Google software, I can predict it's going to be pretty smooth and similar to my experience last year, but of course a little bit better. But I'll have to put it through its tests, and I'm going to be doing more coverage on this phone, quite a lot actually, over the next few weeks. So if you do want to subscribe, hit that bell icon, and you'll see that content on your feed. Something crazy Google was hyping up, this phone's apparently protected against quantum computers breaking into your phone. Pretty impressive. In terms of cameras this year, they have been upgraded on the Pixel 11. Now we're getting a larger 48 megapixel wide sensor. You still got the 5x telephoto. Google's saying there's going to be improvements, and they've even pushed the zoom capabilities further, but that's all digital using AI upscaling. So you're now going to get 30 times zoom on the standard Pixel, but again, not optical. Charging's also had a bit of a bump up too. We now have Qi 2.2 and faster wireless charging at 25 watts, but nothing crazy. So now let's talk about the Pro phones, because I feel like things get a lot more interesting. So we still have a 6.3 inch Pro and a 6.8 inch Pro XL, but there's been a $100 price increase on both phones. The base storage is improved on the Pro to 256, but we've still got the same 256 base as last year on the XL. So a $100 price increase, but no storage increase over there. And you've still got 12 gigabytes of RAM or 16 gigabytes if you opt for the 512 gigabyte version. And that's paired, of course, with the brand new Tensor G6 chip. Now the colors on the Pro are actually pretty interesting this year. We have Canyon, which is this pink orange with gold accents, Fog, which is pure white over the beige from last year, and we also have Olive, which is a really nice shade of green. I feel like we've been lacking with green phones, especially Pro phones. We're now seeing more colors come. And of course, we have Obsidian, which is stealthy as always, but they've now made it even stealthier by making the rails matte black. But the only thing is it kind of makes it feel like the non-Pro, because the non-Pro also has the same finish on the rails. So on the front, Google's saying they've got an anti-scratch coating, which now makes it 2 times more scratch resistant to last year. And something crazy is they're calling this the brightest display on any smartphone. So this thing's packing a 3600 nit Super Actua display. That's wild. That's actually 1,000 nits more than the S26 Ultra, which we saw earlier this year. It's one of those things you just appreciate, right? Now this year, the Pro models have a very similar setup to last year's camera system, and there's no reduced camera bump like on the Pixel 11, which is kind of a shame. I wish we had it slightly reduced, but it's the same as last year. The cameras have changed. There's a 50 megapixel main sensor, 48 megapixel ultra wide, 48 megapixel telephoto, and a 42 megapixel front facing camera, which is the same megapixels as last year, but the telephoto does have a larger 1/1.95 inch sensor, which is potentially a pretty big deal for low light. And Google's also pushing the zoom limits further with the super res zoom to 120 times. They now said because of the bigger sensor, you've got instant night sight, which can capture those long exposure photos 4.5 times faster. So you know when it's nighttime and you're taking a photo, you realize you have to hold your phone there for 10 seconds. That's the most annoying thing, and you like move it around and it blurs. Now you can take those long exposures instantly with a click with a super fast shutter. I'm genuinely excited to test that out. No idea what it's like because I tested it in a bright studio, but that sounds really promising. And we also have faster charging on the Pro Series phones as well. It's 29% faster than before, so you can get 75% apparently in just 30 minutes, which is pretty great. And then of course we have the brand new Fold. So it comes in two new colors, olive and obsidian. Both are beautiful colors in person, they look great. And I think the green color on the Fold was actually my favorite color throughout the entire event, looking at all the phones. So when I was on the call announcing all the specs, the one thing that threw me off is they said the back is actually indestructible. So yeah, it's made of a glass composite, which is apparently a lot more durable than last year's and almost indestructible. That's Google's words, not mine. But yeah, it does feel very strong. In terms of displays, we're also seeing some improvement on the front. We've got much thinner bezels, so within the same form factor, we're getting a slightly larger display, but it's a Super AHUA display, 3600 nits, just like on the other phones. One thing I did notice is the hinge is much nicer to open and close. It's got more of a snap, whereas last year it feels kind of mushy. And we're also seeing 3600 nits on that inner display, although we're not seeing thinner bezels. From what I saw, looks about the same as last year. And something I really did feel is the new Pixel Fold is 10% lighter, definitely feels lighter in the hand, and 1mm thinner, which wasn't really noticeable unless I had it folded open. But yeah, we're also getting the same faster wireless charging with Qi 2.2, and you're getting 50% battery charge in 30 minutes when it's plugged in. Honestly, the cameras overall look pretty similar to last year. I'm gonna have to test them out and see in the real world if there are any improvements, but the only real change from what I can see is the 48 megapixel ultra wide, which is definitely nice to have. You know, one thing I never do a lot of coverage on is the Pixel watches, but this year is going to change. There's actually a lot of improvements, and I think some of the biggest when it comes to wearables in terms of milestones. Some of this stuff's crazy. So this watch can now track your blood pressure and even your insulin levels. So it does this through trends, which basically it uses various AI models combined with other health metrics. But it can even use AI algorithms to detect persistent drops in your oxygen level, and then it can call 911. Or if your insulin's low, it can alert you. That is game changing for people with diabetes. But there's also things like sleep breathing quality metrics when you're asleep and minute by minute blood oxygen tracking. The craziest thing they told me was when you lose a GPS signal, like if you're downtown, you're going between skyscrapers, it actually uses the noise of other signals and it predicts using AI models where you've actually gone until you regain that signal, which is kind of crazy to think about. There's no signal, but it's kind of working out how you traverse through the world. And no, it doesn't use your cellular. I already asked them that. So other than those health features, we've got a 12% boost in processing power, 20% faster, and we've also got 50% more RAM. So all of that is really nice to see. How much are we going to actually gain from having more power in our watch? I don't really know, but I think when it comes to AI, it's definitely going to speed things up. And we are getting all those brand new AI Gemini features into the watch, so it can now go ahead and pull context-aware information into your chats. So it just helps when you're using a watch, right? You don't want to be typing or speaking into it. But yeah, Google's definitely not trying to reinvent anything this year. They're very much sticking with their guns, sticking with what works, which I think is great because I love the Pixel design. I think it's one of the most beautiful smartphones out there. I'm glad they've kept it the same, but with like minor refinement. They're taking what works about the Pixel and they're pushing it further. We also have some new dictation modes called Rambler, so you can now kind of ramble and talk nonsense, and it will use AI to sort of get the information you need. So you can even change information and tell it to remove things, and it will automatically do that. There's also Gemini Intelligence coming to the lock screen. I didn't get to test this at the demo, but again, that's going to come later in my real world test. But that sounds promising. It has real-time location-based Gemini Intelligence, which can actually give you information like restaurant reviews when you walk up to a restaurant. That's kind of incredible, or even show you the menu. And if you're thinking of moving from iOS to Pixel, Google's actually told me that now you can port more information over than ever, including your passwords, your passkeys, your eSIM, call history. Basically everything from your iPhone can now be ported over to the Pixel. So yeah, so far I'm impressed, but I really don't know till I get my hands on it, till I set it up with all my stuff and actually really use it, because that's when you spot like the flaws, the bugs, and also the new things. So yeah, stick around, remember to subscribe. Let me know your thoughts. What do you think about these new Pixel phones? Are you gonna pick them up? Are you gonna upgrade, or are you gonna stick to your older Pixel 9 or Pixel 8? I'm also going to be touching on the Pixel 10a, which is the budget series phone that came out 5 months ago now. I've been using it a little while, so that's also coming up in some future videos, but I think it sort of aligns well with the new Series 11 phones. And we're not going to see an 11a till mid next year, so I'm going to touch on that soon. Stick around, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace. I used to be kind of sane.